Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to dive into an essential part of React, JSX. We'll cover what JSX is, how it differs from HTML, and how React renders elements to the DOM. We'll also explore JSX expressions and how we can embed JavaScript within JSX. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid understanding of JSX and be ready to build dynamic React components. Let's get started. JSX stands for JavaScript XML. It's a syntax extension for JavaScript that allows us to write HTML-like code inside our JavaScript files. It makes our React code more readable and expressive, but under the hood, it's still JavaScript. Let's look at a quick example. In a regular HTML file, we might write "Hello World" in a heading element. In JSX, we can write something similar. Please note that I'm using TypeScript for this project, hence the TSX extension instead of JSX. TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript that adds types, helping developers write more readable and error-free code. At first glance, JSX looks just like HTML, but there are some key differences. JSX needs to be inside JavaScript. Unlike HTML, JSX isn't written in a separate file, it's embedded directly within JavaScript. JSX uses camel case for attributes. In HTML, we write attributes like class and onClick, but in JSX, we use class name and onClick. JSX must have a single root element. Unlike regular HTML, JSX elements must be wrapped in a single parent element. This is why we often wrap elements inside a div, or use React fragments. We can also use the empty tag, which is a shorthand for React fragment. So, JSX is not HTML, it's JavaScript that looks like HTML, and React uses it to define the UI structure of our components. Now that we know what JSX is, let's talk about how React renders elements to the actual page. In traditional JavaScript, we might use document.getElementById to insert content into the DOM. In React, we do something similar but in a more structured way using ReactDOM.createRoot method. Here's how it works. First, we need an HTML file with a div element that serves as the root container for our app. The HTML will look like this. As we are using ours build with the plugin React, we do not have to create that file, as the plugin creates it for us. Next, we write the following React code to render our JSX element inside the div with ID root. This file is now the entry point of our application. ReactDOM.createRoot method creates a root for our React app. The render method takes our JSX and mounts it inside the root div. Unlike ReactDOM.render method, which was used in older versions of React, createRoot method is the modern way to initialize a React application. And that's how React updates the DOM efficiently. Whenever our JSX changes, React only updates the necessary parts instead of reloading the entire page. One of the coolest things about JSX is that we can embed JavaScript expressions inside it using curly braces. This allows us to dynamically update content and use variables, functions, and even conditional logic within our JSX. Let's say we have a name variable, and we want to display it inside a heading tag. Instead of writing plain text, we assign the variable the value, Alice, and then reference it in our JSX using curly braces. This will output, "Hello Alice," on the screen. JSX evaluates the JavaScript inside the braces and replaces it with the actual value. Now, this isn't a proper React example, because in React, we typically use state to manage and update variables. But for simplicity, we're using this basic example to illustrate the concept. We can also call functions inside JSX. For example, let's create a format name function that concatenates a first name and a last name. We define a user object, assign values to it, and then call our function inside JSX to display the full name on the screen. As you can see, this outputs, "Hello Alice Johnson." JSX also allows basic JavaScript operations inside curly braces. For instance, we can perform numeric operations, like multiplying two numbers. Or we can use ternary operators to conditionally render content. Take a look at this example. We have a Boolean variable, and based on its value, we either display, "Welcome back," or "Please log in." If the value is true, the application shows, "Welcome back." Otherwise, it displays, "Please log in." This kind of dynamic rendering is what makes React so powerful. To summarize, JSX is a syntax extension that looks like HTML but is actually JavaScript. It allows us to write UI elements in a more readable way while keeping the full power of JavaScript. We use ReactDOM.createRoot.render function to efficiently render elements into the DOM. Unlike traditional JavaScript, React updates only the necessary parts of the page, making it more efficient. JSX lets us embed JavaScript expressions using curly braces, which means we can dynamically display data, call functions, and even use conditional rendering. Now that you understand JSX and rendering, you're ready to move on to components. Components are the building blocks of every React application. They let us break the user interface into reusable pieces and manage data more effectively. In the next video, we'll dive into React components, how to create them, pass data between them, and reuse them to build powerful user interfaces. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Also, check out the full React playlist linked in the description for more React tutorials. See you in the next video.